Choosing your online course name can be a really fun and exciting step because it means you're one step closer to launching your course. But I feel like it causes a lot of course creators a lot of stress and anxiety because it is a big decision. It is how you are going to present your online course to the world. So in this episode, I am going to give you some really actionable steps for choosing your online course name. So let's dive right in. So step number one, or tip number one, is to use AI or a business name generator. Use the internet to help you basically. So ChatGPT is a great free AI tool, and you can put in a prompt and it will spit back out course names for you. Also, if you just Google business name generator, there's even online course name generators just to kind of get your brain thinking. I will say that ChatGPT is probably going to give you better results than one of those websites, but I like to use all of my tools. By the way, as you are going through these steps, have a notebook, or if you're a digital person, your tablet or phone or whatever, and write down all of the names that you think of, even the definite no's, because sometimes the no's can help you decide on a name that you actually like. So here is a prompt that you can use with ChatGPT. Please give me, I always say please because it's AI and when they take over the world, I want them to like me. Please give me 10 online course names for a course that trains women over 50 to lose weight without a strict diet and exercising just 15 minutes a day. So the more specific you can be about the result of your course, the better the names are going to be. And you can say, give me 20 names or give me 30. And then once ChatGPT gives you those names, you can, edit the names that it gives you. So maybe it gives you these names and you decide that you definitely want the word women in your course name. So then you can say, can you please regenerate this list, but include the word women in each answer, and it will do that for you. And start writing them down. It may be actually easier if you copy and paste it to like a Word document or something, or a Google Doc, and it's really going to give you a good list to get started with. It may give you the one right off the bat, who knows. So that is my first tip. Tip number two is to survey your audience. When you get your audience involved with any kind of decision with your course, it makes them feel like they are a part of the process for this program, and it might incentivize them to purchase the program. So right now you may be brand new and you may not have an audience yet. That's totally fine and normal. However, I teach in my program, Hey Online Course is my program. While you are making the outline for your course and creating the first few modules of your course, you're going to be building the audience for your course simultaneously. And you don't have to name the course before you make the outline in the first couple of modules. In fact, it's easier for some people to wait until they have the outline done and a couple of modules recorded, and then they name the course, because sometimes you start with this idea in mind, and as you start actually creating the videos, things change and you realize, oh, well, I meant to go this direction, but now it's kind of going this direction, so the name could change. So a lot of people will wait. So as you are working through the outline and building those first couple of modules out, you're going to start building your email list. So then when you're gearing up to start getting ready to launch your course, you should have, even if it's a small audience, some type of audience, and that's fine if it's small. So you can send your email list a survey. Hey, I am working on a really exciting program. Tell them the transformation the program is going to offer. Can you help me name the program? You could leave it open-ended, or maybe you could do like a survey style where you give choices like A, B, C, D, reply back with your choice. That's a really great way to see what resonates with your audience, because it may be different than what you originally thought. Step number three, as you are narrowing down the names, getting ready to choose, make sure the name isn't taken, because that is really frustrating when you take all this time to brainstorm a name and then you realize someone already has that name. So there's a few places that you want to check. First of all, just Google the name and see if anything comes up. Now, there may be a business that's like completely unrelated, and that would be fine as long as that name isn't trademarked. However, I just like to be extra careful and just have a name that is nothing to do with anything out there on the internet in case they decide to trademark that name. So you want to check the internet. You want to see if the domain is available for that course name. So www.yourcoursename.com. Make sure that's available. Social media handles, those aren't as important, but you just want to have all of the pieces for your course to avoid any confusion, because once you start marketing your course, people may search for that on Instagram, and even if you don't want to create a separate account for that course, you want to grab that handle. So for example, I have the Instagram handle at Hey Online Course. I don't have an account for that yet, but I don't want anyone else to grab it because then it's going to cause confusion. I also have the domain, heyonlinecourse.com. So if the domain is available and you decide that's what you want to name your course, purchase the domain. Domains are really inexpensive, usually like $12 to $20 a year. That's definitely worth it so no one else gets that domain. You also want to check trademarks and make sure your name isn't trademarked. This is probably the most important thing, because if you use a trademarked name, then you could get in trouble. So the U.S. Department of Trademarks, you can search on their website. Trademarkia is also another place that you can search to make sure that the name you've chosen isn't trademarked. Now this comes to another point. Once you decide on your course name, should you trademark it? And it's really up to you. You definitely do not have to. And I wouldn't trademark it in the beginning for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's expensive. The trademark process is expensive. I just went through it and it takes forever. In fact, I applied, I think around this time last year, and it just got approved. So it takes forever and it's expensive. And you may change your name, your course name. You may change your mind about what you wanted to name your course. If you went through all of this money and this time to trademark it, it's going to be a waste. So I would suggest, if you plan to trademark it, wait until you have a couple of successful launches out of the way. Then you could think about that and go through a lawyer. Don't try to do it yourself because it's really confusing. At least for me it was. Okay. Tip number 4, make sure the name is easy to say and remember. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to be hard to get out, because you're going to be talking about it on whatever platform that you choose to talk about it on, social media, YouTube, whatever. So you want it to be easy to say and easy for people to remember. And you also, this is tip number 5, you want to make the course name sexy, but not confusing. So what does sexy mean? It just means that when someone hears the name of your course, they're like, ooh, I want to know more about that. Instead of like, that sounds kind of boring. So here is just an example, and hopefully no one has this course name. I probably should have checked this before I said it, so no judgment if this is your course name, but it's just the first thing that came to my mind. So a kind of not sexy name would be Etsy 101. In fact, anything with 101. I feel like it's just kind of like, okay. It's not, it does tell you what the course is about. I feel like that would be a beginner course for Etsy, but it doesn't tell me exactly what it's going to be about. And it also is just kind of like, it's just not sexy. So something that's a little more sexy would be digital product magic, or you could even call it Etsy magic. That is sexy to me. The word magic is a power word. If you Google power words, there's a list of them. And including those in your course name can a lot of times really enhance the name of your course. So when I hear digital product magic, I think, ooh, what is that? I want to learn more. Now, you also want to make sure that your course name is not confusing, so that when someone hears it, they know what the course is about. Here's an example that I did when I first created my online course back in 2019. I named it Secondary Math Squad, which has nothing to do with what I was teaching other than it was about math. So my course taught math teachers how to create resources for their classroom. And Secondary Math Squad does not tell me that that's what that course is about. It doesn't say that it's anything about creating resources. It's just confusing. So I changed it. So thankfully I didn't try to trademark that name. I changed it to Math Resource Academy. Now, I know what you're saying. Lindsay, that's not sexy. And you're right. It is not sexy. But back in 2019, no one was really creating courses, so it wasn't as necessary to really make your course name stand out as it is today. So just putting that out there. So make it sexy, but also make it make sense with what your course is teaching. Okay, tip number 6. you don't have to use a course noun. So in your course name, you don't have to use course or university or school. In fact, I see a lot of people kind of moving away from that. So like digital product magic, that doesn't have the word course or school in it. But in your marketing, people are going to know it's a program, it's a course. Tip number 7 is use a thesaurus. I use a thesaurus all the time, just the internet version. And if I know, I want to incorporate some type of word in my course title, but maybe I want a different version of that word, then I will use the thesaurus and make a list. And that really helps me find a unique name that still has, it's not confusing. It's still appropriate for what I am teaching. So thesaurus, your best friend. And then the last tip I have for you guys is to go with your gut and don't overstress about your course name. You can always change it. I definitely changed my first course name, and it's not set in stone. And I feel like a lot of course creators they get stuck on this step. They don't know what their course name is going to be, so they don't move forward. And like I said before, you can start creating the outline and the modules for your course before you've even chosen a name. So don't let that stop you. Don't be like, well, I don't have a name, I can't move forward. No, don't do that. Keep moving forward. Names will come to you. You can survey your audience. You can even ask friends and family. That's another great way. Use AI, and you can totally do this. So I will just quickly go through these tips again. So tip number 1, use ChatGPT or some type of online business name generator. Tip 2, survey your audience or friends and family. Tip number 3, make sure the name isn't taken. So check the domain, social media handles, and definitely check trademarks. Tip number 4, make sure the name is easy to say and remember. Tip number 5, make the course name sexy but not confusing. Tip number 6, you don't have to use a course noun like university or academy or course or school. Tip number 7 is to use a thesaurus. And then the last tip is to go with your gut and don't let this hold you back from moving forward with creating your course. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you have chosen a course name, or maybe you have a few and you want my input, I love chatting back and forth with you guys. Shoot me an email, support@meetthebowdens.com. I would love to see your list of course name ideas.